Hello, I'm Kevin Winter from the University of Cape Town, and I'm really thrilled to have such a diverse group of stakeholders in this room today. It's seldom that we've had a chance to be able to speak to people about what we're doing at the Water Hub first of all, and most of all our concern is how we step outside of the Water Hub, a research and learning centre, to start engaging with community. This is for me one of the most exciting opportunities, and our aim today is to talk first of all about some of the issues and problems that are bedeviling the river called the Stibbleville River and its catchment. It's a growing catchment, largely with urban poor and a growing number of houses that are now proliferating the catchment. And then we're going to get to the point of visiting that river, talking more about the reality of that river, and followed by some time which we will talk about a vision, and from that vision, see whether there are some tasks that we can do. And I hope at the end of this day, we will have a couple of tasks that we're able to achieve and look back on it in maybe 10 months' time, 12 months' time, and to say we've been able to achieve that.
I know I've seen it at the Stibbleville River. There's a sewage waste that goes into the river when you go by the school, which is the black water that goes straight to the river. Mostly children there in summer, that's where they go swim. After that, you couldn't see children going there swimming anymore because of that black water and the smell that comes out of the river. Those old mattresses that were there 2019 are still there because that thing to rot, it will take years and years, you know.
The source of the pollution needs to be addressed, and I think the responsibility for that doesn't lie solely with government. It needs to come from the people associated with the river itself.
So who dumps? Who pollutes? It's us humans. We pollute. We don't tell our kids, or we do tell our kids, don't litter. So we need to get to the core, and the core is education and awareness, and we need to change the mindset of our communities as to what you should be doing and why you're doing it, because you need to tell them why.
Why is it that people who dump a bin in a river for 5 rand? Immediately it tells me there's an economic factor.
People who are without toilets in their houses or without toilets nearby, they're gonna help themselves above the river, and then there comes a rainy day and then it sweeps everything into the river. It's of no use to go and fetch those mattresses that Solomon is talking about, because a day later there will be now a sewage that goes directly there without the mattresses. Now you've spoken to the people, you've told them not to dump there, they've heard you, you understand, but they relieve themselves, then it goes to the stream.
So this is the Stibbleville River that you're seeing here, and there's a lot of concerns that if you see, we have a lot of plastics being dumped into the river, directly into the river. We've looked at the E. coli levels are so high. We're talking of figures that are more than 20,000. And then we also looked at traces of pharmaceutical drugs. And for the pharmaceuticals, it's mostly starting where the effluent is. So the effluent is the source of these contaminants.
You can be here at 1 o'clock in the morning, it's still flowing. You can be here winter, summer, it's still and continues to flow. This water can't be diverted into a sewer because of capacity. We need to find another solution. And that lies, I think, in the river itself and how we begin to try and take that water, use it through a biofilter, which we're about to show you, and try to clean that up as best as we can. We've got 6 cells here. We then filled it with small stones. So essentially what's happening here is you standing on water, it's about 1 meter deep below you, and what in fact happens when you put dirty water into those cells, it removes about 90% of the phosphates, and it removes about 75 to maybe 95% of the ammonia and nitrogen. And it's then safe to irrigate. So we meet irrigation standards in terms of planting or irrigating plants. What if we had to divert the whole of the Stibbleville River in the land across the other side of the river here and to take that through a similar system to this before it goes into the Franschhoek River?
If we're trying to develop a pathway towards the future, what we're interested in is what kind of values do you think would be conducive to collaboration? So what we're going to do now is we're going to divide you into groups, and in your group you're going to capture with the facilitator your future vision of this catchment.
Somebody suggested they wanted to see the mayor swimming in the Black River. So we could start with something like that.
We don't have things being stagnant, never. So that when you try to keep it not going worse, you have to improve.
You add value to that product.
It's got to do with that value, it's this perception of waste as something that's not useful. How do we change the mindset of that waste?
This whole theory of a circular economy as well.
Yeah.
One, it needs to be restored and preserved. I mean,
The Stibble River catchment.
I'm just going to use protection and harmony, something like protected catchment that provides harmony.
It's something that we wish when we're there, when we look at that river, what is your vision?
And safe
And we could be talking about grand visions, swimming in the Stibberville River as my group talked about. Wouldn't that be fun? And yet our visions have to be realistic and they have to be one step at a time. Doesn't mean to say that we can't have big visions, and we should. It's how we're going to get there. It's really important. So some really nice concepts, and I'm really so proud of the way you talked and got your groups going and came out with statements under pressure, by the way. A clean and safe Stibberville River reflects some of the things above, with a well-informed community supported by strong governance, striving for social justice and environmental preservation for the benefit of all. How does that sound?
And this initiative puts some sort of hope back into the community for all the residents and people from abroad that always visit Franschhoek to come and enjoy.
It's more special that I live next to the river and seeing how pollution is that on the river, and luckily we are not actually here only to speak about problems, but in terms of also solving the problems.
I'm surrounded by people who are driven by action. I so wish that we achieve to clean the dam and make it useful prior to 2040.